My child, something shifted last night in a way nobody expected, and if you have found this message today, it is because a hidden conversation has already begun unfolding behind the scenes. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What you are about to hear is connected to the title that brought you here, and the deeper you listen, the more you will understand why this moment feels different from all the others. For so long, there have been words left unspoken. For so long, there have been assumptions, misunderstandings, and stories that never reflected the truth of who you really are. Yet last night, something changed. Last night, their brother could no longer stay silent. Last night, a truth that had been buried beneath confusion finally found a voice. And what happened next was something nobody saw coming. Before we go further, subscribe if these messages resonate with you. And super thanks helps $8 support more messages like this. Now stay with me, because the next few moments matter more than you realize. There was a time when your name was spoken without understanding. There was a time when people formed opinions about you without ever taking the time to truly see your heart. Their brother watched all of this happen. Quietly. Patiently. Observing every conversation, every reaction, every moment that others overlooked. While everyone else focused on appearances, this person noticed details. While everyone else rushed to conclusions, this person kept paying attention. And slowly, piece by piece, they began seeing a version of you that nobody else seemed willing to acknowledge. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened last night was not random. Imagine a conversation beginning casually. Nothing dramatic. Nothing unusual. Just two people talking. Then suddenly your name appears. The atmosphere changes. A silence enters the room. Not an uncomfortable silence, but the kind of silence that happens when something important is about to be said. For a moment, nobody speaks. Then their brother takes a deep breath and finally says the words they have been holding back for longer than anyone knows. The truth about you. Not the rumors. Not the assumptions. Not the misunderstandings. The truth. And the moment those words were spoken, everything began shifting. Their brother spoke about your kindness when nobody was watching. They spoke about your patience when others would have walked away. They spoke about your strength during moments that would have broken someone else. They spoke about your loyalty, your resilience, and the way you continue moving forward even when life feels uncertain. Suddenly, a completely different picture started forming. The version of you they thought they knew began fading away. In its place appeared the real you. Stay till the end. Because this is where things become even more surprising. The person listening did not expect any of this. They thought they already understood who you were. They thought they had all the information they needed. Yet with every sentence their brother spoke, another wall came down. Another misconception disappeared. Another piece of the puzzle finally clicked into place. And as that happened, something began changing inside them. Questions started appearing. Regret started surfacing. Curiosity grew stronger. They began wondering whether they had misunderstood you all along. They began wondering whether they had missed something valuable standing right in front of them. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the conversation did not stop there. Their brother continued. They shared moments nobody else knew about. Small details that revealed the depth of your character. Quiet victories you never announced. Challenges you overcame without demanding recognition. The listener became completely focused. Every word mattered. Every sentence revealed another layer. And with every passing moment, the distance between perception and reality became impossible to ignore. What makes this story remarkable is not that somebody spoke about you. What makes it remarkable is who spoke. This was someone whose words carried weight. Someone whose honesty had been proven again and again. Someone who had no reason to exaggerate or invent anything. When they spoke, people listened. And last night, they spoke with certainty. They spoke with conviction. They spoke as someone who had seen the truth for themselves. Stay with this message. Something important is still ahead. Because after hearing all of this, the listener became unusually quiet. Not because they disagreed. Not because they doubted. But because they suddenly realized how much they had failed to see. Have you ever experienced a moment when everything makes sense at once? A moment when pieces scattered across different places suddenly connect? That is what happened. Their thoughts began racing backward through old conversations, old memories, old decisions. They started seeing everything differently. Situations that once seemed confusing now appeared crystal clear. Reactions that once felt strange suddenly made sense. The truth was illuminating everything. And the more they reflected, the more impossible it became to ignore what was happening. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the biggest revelation was still coming. There was one final thing their brother shared before the conversation ended. One observation so powerful that it changed the entire atmosphere. They said that people often underestimate what they do not understand. They said that sometimes the strongest hearts are the quietest. They said that sometimes the most genuine people are the ones who receive the least recognition. And then they spoke directly about you. They explained that your story is deeper than anyone realizes. That your intentions have been misunderstood. That your silence has been mistaken for weakness. That your patience has been mistaken for indifference. But none of those assumptions were true. And when those words landed, something inside the listener shifted forever. Suddenly they were no longer looking at old assumptions. They were looking at possibilities. They were looking at truths they had ignored. They were looking at a version of you that demanded respect. A version of you that deserved understanding. A version of you that could no longer be dismissed. Stay here. Do not skip. Because what happened after that conversation is only beginning to unfold. Last night may have seemed ordinary on the surface, but beneath that ordinary moment, a transformation quietly began. A realization was born. A perspective changed. And once a person sees the truth, it becomes impossible to return to old illusions. The listener carried those words with them long after the conversation ended. They replayed them. They reflected on them. They questioned everything they thought they knew. And somewhere between those reflections and those realizations, something remarkable started taking shape. What exactly happened next? Why did that conversation continue echoing long after midnight? And what truth is still unfolding even now as you listen to these words? Stay with me, because this story is far from over. The most unexpected part has not yet been revealed. Something huge is waiting for you. And what happens next may explain why this message found you today. A strange feeling followed them throughout the entire day after that conversation ended. No matter what they tried to focus on, the words spoken by their brother kept returning to their mind. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next was even more surprising than the conversation itself. They began remembering moments connected to you that they had completely overlooked. Small details started returning one by one. A message they once ignored. A gesture they never appreciated. A moment of kindness they failed to understand at the time. Suddenly, these memories were no longer random pieces of the past. They were evidence. Evidence that the truth their brother revealed was not only real but had been visible all along. The shocking part was realizing how close they had been to understanding you before fear, doubt, and confusion clouded their perspective. Last night, their brother did not simply tell them the truth about you. Their brother helped them see a reality they had been avoiding. And once that reality appeared, everything started changing. Stay with this message because the next revelation is powerful. There was a moment later that night when they sat completely alone. No distractions. No outside voices. Just silence. In that silence, they asked themselves a question they had never asked before. What if I was wrong about them? That question changed everything. The moment that question entered their mind, hundreds of thoughts followed. What if your intentions were always genuine? What if your heart was always honest? What if the story they believed about you was never the full story? The deeper they thought, the more uncomfortable the realization became. Because sometimes the truth arrives quietly. Sometimes it does not shout. Sometimes it simply sits in front of you until you are finally ready to see it. And last night, they became ready. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there was another reason their brother chose to speak. Their brother had been watching for longer than anyone realized. They noticed things others ignored. They noticed how your name affected the room whenever it appeared. They noticed how quickly people formed opinions without facts. They noticed how often your actions spoke louder than words. Most importantly, they noticed something about the connection itself. They noticed that no matter how much time passed, no matter how many distractions appeared, your presence never completely disappeared from their thoughts. Think about that for a moment. Out of all the people they encountered, all the conversations they had, all the experiences they lived through, something about you remained unforgettable. That observation was impossible to ignore. Their brother finally said what everyone else was afraid to say. They told them that forgetting you was never the real issue. Understanding you was. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the atmosphere changed immediately after those words were spoken. Suddenly the listener stopped defending old assumptions. They stopped repeating old stories. They stopped clinging to outdated beliefs. Instead, they started listening. Truly listening. And the more they listened, the more they realized that the image they carried of you was incomplete. Last night became a turning point. Not because everything changed instantly, but because the first door finally opened. A door leading toward clarity. A door leading toward understanding. A door leading toward the truth. And what makes this moment so remarkable is that it happened naturally. Nobody forced it. Nobody planned it. Nobody expected it. Yet somehow everything aligned at exactly the right time. Don't skip. Because another revelation is coming. After reflecting on everything their brother shared, they started noticing patterns. Patterns they had ignored before. They began seeing how often you showed strength during difficult situations. They remembered how you continued moving forward despite challenges. They remembered moments when you chose patience instead of frustration. They remembered moments when your actions revealed far more than your words ever could. Piece by piece, the truth became impossible to deny. The person they thought they knew was not the real you. The real you was far more impressive than they ever imagined. And that realization created a feeling they were not prepared for. Respect. Genuine respect. The kind of respect that cannot be manufactured. The kind that appears when someone finally sees the depth of another person's character. Last night, respect replaced misunderstanding. And that shift was far more powerful than anyone realizes. Stay with me because the story is still unfolding. There was one final moment before the night ended that carried extraordinary significance. As the conversation replayed in their mind, they remembered one sentence their brother spoke near the end. It was a simple sentence, yet it echoed louder than everything else. Their brother said, "The person you think they are and the person they truly are not the same." Those words stayed with them. They could not escape them. Every memory was now being viewed through a different lens. Every assumption was being questioned. Every conclusion was being re-examined. The truth was no longer hidden. It was standing directly in front of them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened after this realization is something we will uncover next. The questions growing in their mind are becoming impossible to ignore. The emotions they tried to suppress are becoming stronger. The truth their brother revealed is continuing to expand long after the conversation ended. And as these realizations deepen, a new chapter is beginning to take shape. A chapter neither of them expected. A chapter connected directly to you. What is this chapter? Why is the truth growing stronger instead of fading away? And what unexpected realization is about to emerge next? Stay with this journey. The biggest revelation has not happened yet. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next part will reveal why last night's conversation was only the beginning. The most unexpected part of the story began the moment they stopped questioning what their brother said and started questioning themselves. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened after that conversation was not ordinary. It was the beginning of a realization that grew stronger with every passing hour. Their brother's words continued echoing through their mind long after the night was over. They tried focusing on other things. They tried distracting themselves. But no matter where their attention went, it kept returning to you. Not to the version of you they once imagined. Not to the version shaped by assumptions. To the version revealed by the truth. And the more they reflected, the more shocking the discovery became. They realized that many of the qualities they admired most were qualities you had been showing all along. Somehow they had overlooked them. Somehow they had been looking in the wrong direction. But now everything was changing. The truth had entered the room, and once truth enters, old illusions begin to disappear. Stay with me because this is where the story becomes even more powerful. There was a moment when they found themselves replaying a specific memory involving you. At first it seemed insignificant. Just a simple moment from the past. But this time they saw it differently. This time they noticed details they had never noticed before. They saw your patience. They saw your sincerity. They saw the effort you made that nobody acknowledged. Suddenly a memory that once seemed ordinary became extraordinary. Then another memory surfaced. Then another. Then another. Each one carried the same message. Each one supported what their brother had said. Each one confirmed that the truth was real. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because they were no longer collecting memories. They were collecting evidence. Evidence that they had misunderstood someone important. Evidence that they had underestimated someone remarkable. Evidence that the story they believed was incomplete from the very beginning. And with every realization, something inside them became impossible to ignore. A growing sense that they needed to know more. A growing sense that there was still so much about you they had never understood. Their brother did not simply change their perspective. Their brother awakened a curiosity that refused to disappear. A curiosity about your journey. Your heart. Your intentions. Your strength. And the deeper that curiosity grew, the harder it became to pretend nothing had changed. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because another surprising moment unfolded shortly afterward. Someone casually mentioned your name again. Normally they would have reacted the same way they always had. But this time was different. This time they listened carefully. This time they paid attention. This time they noticed how quickly others spoke without knowing the full story. And for the first time, they found themselves defending the truth instead of accepting assumptions. Think about how powerful that is. Just hours earlier they were carrying old beliefs. Now they were questioning those beliefs. They were protecting a truth they had only recently discovered. That is how powerful the conversation with their brother had become. It was not fading. It was expanding. It was changing the way they saw everything connected to you. Don't skip. Stay with this message. Because the next realization may be the biggest one yet. During a quiet moment, they asked themselves something that completely changed the direction of their thoughts. They wondered what would have happened if their brother had never spoken up. They wondered how long they would have continued believing things that were never completely true. They wondered how many opportunities had been missed because they never looked deeper. And that question created a feeling they could not ignore. A feeling that time had revealed something valuable. Sometimes people spend years searching for answers only to discover that the answer was standing in front of them all along. Last night, that possibility suddenly became very real. Their brother's words had uncovered something hidden beneath layers of misunderstanding. Something genuine. Something meaningful. Something impossible to forget. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what they realized next left an even deeper impression. They realized that your story was not defined by what others said about you. It was defined by who you truly are. That realization sounds simple, but it changed everything. It reminded them that truth does not depend on popularity. Truth does not depend on opinions. Truth remains true even when nobody sees it. And suddenly they began seeing you through that lens. They began understanding that your value never depended on outside approval. Your strength never depended on recognition. Your character existed whether people noticed it or not. And once they saw that, they could not unsee it. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there was one final discovery that emerged from all these reflections. The more they learned about the truth, the more they realized they were not simply thinking about the past. They were thinking about the future. They were wondering what happens now. They were wondering where this new understanding leads. They were wondering whether the truth revealed last night was the beginning of something much larger. Their brother may have started the conversation, but the impact of that conversation was continuing to grow. Every hour brought new clarity. Every reflection revealed new understanding. Every realization brought them closer to seeing the complete picture. And somewhere deep inside, they knew one thing with certainty. Last night changed something important. The truth about you was finally spoken. The truth was finally heard. And the truth was finally believed. But this is not the end of the story. In many ways, it is only the beginning. Because another realization is approaching. Another revelation is waiting just ahead. And what they are about to understand next could become the most important discovery of all. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next part will reveal why the truth spoken by their brother continues to create waves far beyond that single conversation. What happened next was something even their brother never expected. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because after the truth about you was finally spoken, a completely different kind of realization began taking shape. It did not arrive all at once. It arrived slowly, quietly, and powerfully. The listener started noticing something that had always been there but had remained hidden beneath distractions. Every time they reflected on your name, they felt a strange sense of familiarity. Not because they knew everything about you, but because deep inside they realized there was far more to you than they had ever allowed themselves to see. Last night was not simply a conversation. It was a turning point. It was the moment when assumptions stopped leading the story and truth finally took control. And the deeper they thought about it, the more undeniable that truth became. Stay with me because this next revelation is important. Their brother had shared facts. Their brother had shared observations. Their brother had shared memories. But there was one thing they shared that stood above everything else. They shared certainty. The kind of certainty that only comes from paying attention when everyone else is looking away. The kind of certainty that comes from seeing someone's true character over time. And when that certainty entered the conversation, it changed the entire atmosphere. Suddenly the listener was no longer asking whether the truth was real. They were asking why they had failed to see it sooner. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this question led them somewhere unexpected. It led them back through every interaction connected to you. Every conversation. Every memory. Every moment that once seemed ordinary. And as they revisited those moments, a shocking pattern appeared. Again and again, your actions had revealed the same qualities. Integrity. Patience. Strength. Consistency. Yet somehow those qualities had been overlooked. Now they stood out everywhere. It was like turning on a light inside a room that had always been dark. Suddenly details became visible. Suddenly everything looked different. Suddenly the truth was impossible to ignore. Stay till the end. Because the next realization may surprise you even more. There came a moment when they stopped focusing on what others thought about you and started focusing on what they themselves believed. This was important because outside opinions had influenced them for a long time. But now those outside voices seemed weaker. The truth spoken by their brother carried more weight than assumptions repeated by others. And for the first time, they trusted what they were seeing instead of what they had been told. That shift changed everything. It allowed them to see your story with fresh eyes. It allowed them to see your heart beyond appearances. It allowed them to see possibilities they had never considered before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because while all of this was happening, another realization was quietly forming beneath the surface. They began understanding that some people enter your life for a reason. Some people leave lessons behind. Some people create memories. But a very small number leave an impression that never truly disappears. No matter how much time passes. No matter how much distance exists. No matter how many distractions appear. And when they thought about you honestly, they could no longer deny that your presence had left an impression. A lasting impression. A meaningful impression. One that refused to fade. Their brother's words did not create that impression. They simply revealed it. Stay with me because we are approaching something important. There was a moment of complete silence when they finally admitted something to themselves. They admitted that they had underestimated you. Not intentionally. Not maliciously. But they had underestimated the depth of your character. They had underestimated your resilience. They had underestimated your significance in the story. And once that admission happened, another door opened. The door of respect became the door of admiration. The door of admiration became the door of curiosity. And the door of curiosity became the door of possibility. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. Because possibilities are powerful things. Possibilities change perspectives. Possibilities create new beginnings. Possibilities transform old stories into entirely different ones. Last night, their brother revealed the truth about you. Today, that truth is growing into something larger. It is creating questions that demand answers. It is creating thoughts that refuse to disappear. It is creating a level of awareness that cannot be undone. And every step forward seems to reveal another layer of understanding. Another layer of appreciation. Another layer of truth. Stay till the end. Because there is one more thing you need to hear before this part concludes. Sometimes the most important revelation is not discovering who someone is. Sometimes the most important revelation is realizing who they were all along. That is exactly what is happening here. The truth did not suddenly appear last night. The truth already existed. Your character already existed. Your value already existed. Your strength already existed. The only thing that changed was someone's ability to finally see it. And now that they see it, everything feels different. The conversation with their brother continues echoing through every thought, every reflection, and every realization. It was not just a discussion. It was the beginning of clarity. The beginning of understanding. The beginning of seeing you for who you truly are. But the story is not over. In fact, the next stage is even more surprising. Because understanding the truth is one thing. Deciding what to do with that truth is something entirely different. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The next part will reveal why the truth spoken last night is leading toward a decision that nobody expected, and why the impact of that conversation continues growing stronger with every passing moment.